How the f am I supposed to be working until I'm 76 or whatever when I can't get a job at 50?
It's not really a retirement.
What is it?
It's working every day.
Well, I got the phone call today from my supervisor. Don't ever be loyal to a company.
So I think we all can agree that the job market is pretty terrible right now. It doesn't really matter what age you are, people are getting axed left and right without any notice or backup plan at all. But I thought it'd be interesting to go a little bit more in depth on specifically older people getting fired, trying to look for new work after that, and the problems with trying to retire with this high cost of living we see today. I think these issues are only going to get worse for millennials and Gen Z when we get up into that age. So I guess this is something we can prepare to see as well. We have a lot of different examples to go over today, along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just start off with this.
It's 2025, and the new reality is that people in their mid-50s, late 50s are the new unemployables. Like, I am fortunate right now that I have a gig right now, right? But if I lost it, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing and from all the comments I'm getting on my posts, it's like, if you get blown out of your job, if you get laid off, fired, downsized, whatever it is, aged out, which is a very common thing, it's almost impossible to land another job at your current level. You can almost kiss it goodbye. You might be able to, grab part-time gigs or low-level jobs, but nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to hire somebody who's 57, 58, 59, 60 years old for any kind of an important job. They can say ageism is illegal all they want. They can make believe that it's kumbaya and we love everybody and we're all equal. And no, it doesn't work like that.
And even with what we're seeing in the job market as a whole, the endless amount of ghost jobs and tons of people getting out of college with 6 figures worth of debt that are getting rejected from McDonald's and Chipotle, we have also seen this exact kind of stuff as well when we're talking about higher up positions, somebody who's been loyal to the company for decades, which of course means pay raises over time. And these companies will do absolutely anything to cut costs, make their stock price look a little bit better, their profits this quarter 0.1% higher. So it's much easier to fire somebody who's been working at the company for more than a decade and lowball some 21-year-old who will still take the job because it's better than nothing. And good luck if you're in your 50s or 60s trying to get another full-time job right now. I mean, we have a perfect example right here.
Well, I got the phone call today from my supervisor. Don't ever be loyal to a company, ever. And I'm saying this to the older generation. I'm also saying this to the younger generation. Don't worry about 2-week notices. Because they will screw you. I just found that out. I've been working for the company for a year, perfect attendance, never had any issues, always did my job, was super efficient. Matter of fact, I was one of the most efficient people on second shift. I drive 2 hours round trip for work every day, 410s. Just got a call from my boss that the CEO or the upper management does not want me coming back in. They're just going to let me go.
And there are many of those types of videos floating around the internet right now. We even have a comment from one of you guys. A close friend of mine worked at a giant international corporation that gave pensions if you worked there for 20 years. He was there for 19 years and 8 months and had 2 other coworkers who were there for over 18 and a half years. The company found themselves doing layoffs, and somehow they were the only 3 on their team that got laid off. I wonder why. He was encouraged to reapply for his job the next day, starting over with 20% lower pay. This company made $1.16 billion in profit that year. I mean, the audacity of saying to reapply for the job right after is probably worse than getting replaced by somebody who just got into the job market, because you know the exact reasoning of why you got fired in the first place was just for the money, for the pension. At least if they hire somebody right out of college, they can make the excuse that they want young blood in the office and they know how to work with technology better, blah, 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 all the other excuses you've heard. But I honestly don't know how this is legal. We could go over to the next clip talking about the job hunt.
So as a boomer who is retiring this year and has to look for work for the first time in 35 plus years, my observations: 1, it's a lot harder than it was when I was a young man. You can just trot around dropping off resumes. No one will talk to you. 2, filling out applications online is far, far worse than filling them out in person. They want a resume and a cover letter, and then you have to fill out live within a 10-minute timeout the exact same information into their application. Preach. 3, you will never, and I mean never, hear from an employer again unless you're hired. When I was applying for work in the 1980s, I would get polite form letters rejecting me if they didn't want me. Now I just get ghosted. He's using the terminology even. 4, pay is awful. Hours are awful. Benefits are awful. We can relate, sir.
So I know that this has been happening for years now when it comes to Gen Z and millennials in the market, but I think it's very interesting seeing the older generations go through it as well.
2 weeks ago, I was laid off from my role as Senior Director of Talent Acquisition for an organization that I started working for in January. It was very unexpected. It was a complete shock to me and my family. It was not something that we were expecting. As you can imagine, it's been a big kind of emotional roller coaster the last couple of weeks. I've spent the last 25 years of my life working in a corporate office type capacity, from my very first job as a recruiter to, being vice president of talent acquisition, and then my current role as a senior director.
So 25 years, I mean, almost as long as I've been alive. Just to be fired like that, I mean, I don't want to call it a midlife crisis, but if you've been doing something for such a long period of time, it is a shock to your whole life and you don't know what you're going to do next. I mean, we have another comment from one of you guys. Yep, just turned 60 and my job magically was eliminated. Been job hunting for 6 months now, 200 applications and only 3 interviews, and was overqualified. And that's very common for any of these types of videos we could see.
I've given up trying to find a job now in my 50s because I've been told crap like I'm overqualified.
How the f am I supposed to be working until I'm 76 or whatever when I can't get a job at 50? I'm more than qualified for all the positions that I've been applying to, by the way. Very, very well qualified for them all. Overqualified for many. 3 callbacks, over 1,000 resumes submitted to positions. I've seen a lot of those positions in this 5-month time period, like mysteriously get taken down and put up, taken down and put up, taken down and put up. This is all bullshit, folks. This is all bullshit. They're doing this to us on purpose. They're trying to force us into a place that will do anything to just survive.
There's a couple things I want to talk about. With the overqualified, it's almost like it's a red flag now, as crazy as that sounds, because if you're overqualified for a job, you're most likely going to demand more pay because you have more experience, especially if you're older. And like I said before, these companies do not care. They will cut cost at any measure, fire anybody to make their shareholders a little bit happier that their stock went up a few bucks. And the other thing that he said, the companies are forcing people to take jobs at extremely low wages because it's still better than $0 an hour. And then once again, as a company, you could get more ROI for your workers and make even more money. It really is just never ending.
Hi there, Grandma Lily here with Grandma Lily's Unemployment Chronicles. It is Friday, and I am shutting down job hunting for the week as soon as I send a thank you note for my most recent interview, which was this afternoon. Ask me how it went. It went well. They all go well. If nothing else, I'm becoming an expert at interviewing. But it's getting very frustrating because, either it's not turning into a second interview or it's not turning into an offer. And, as the weeks go by and the end of unemployment looms closer and, the lack of health insurance and the need to go through the marketplace gets larger, it's scary and it's frustrating and it's demoralizing to constantly be told that you're not good enough. And I know that's not what they're saying, but it is. That's what I'm hearing. You're not good enough for this job that we have.
It's actually kind of crazy how many different examples of similar situations like we just saw I found in such a short period of time going through TikTok. And I really can't help but think when I'm seeing people who are in their mid-40s, 50s, and 60s making these types of videos, what is this going to look like with the future advancement of AI, which we'll get to later in the video, and then when the current 25 and 35 start getting into that age, if they don't up the retirement age, which we'll get into also. It just really sounds like everything's being built to work until you're in the grave, but not in a nice cushy job where you'd actually be getting paid fairly. You'd have to be clawing and scratching at any semblance of a job, and it just sounds like a nightmare to me.
This Gen Xer submitted 1,000 resumes to different jobs and has no luck, even though they've had 6-figure roles. And the reality is there's no guarantee of anything. And it's extremely competitive out there because you have so many layoffs of so many top companies that you're competing against people who are probably more qualified or have connections to the hiring manager that you don't. So even though you feel entitled to another six-figure job, that doesn't mean you're just going to get that. You might actually have to take a step back in order to take two steps forwards in the future. It's the nature of today's job market, and you have to be thoughtful, patient, and continue to work hard. 1,000 applications, try 5,000 applications, because all it takes is one.
I don't know, with the same situation of flooding applications to absolutely anything that you see online. We've also looked at programs that will automatically do it. You don't even have to do it manually anymore. Then there's AI that's looking over those resumes and will automatically reject if you don't have specific keywords. I mean, we could just take a look at some of the comments here. You need a referral to get a job these days. I got my last 2 positions from references. The key to the job market today is first your network, and second your willingness to accept a lower salary with more work. Seems very similar to the previous clip where the companies are purposely doing this, putting you into a corner, forcing you to work less than what you're actually worth, because what other option is there? It just sounds insane to me, but I know, especially when we're talking about the older generations, the boomers, the Gen X, a lot of the Gen Z and millennials want them to retire to hopefully open up more positions at any of these companies. But the simple fact is there's a good amount of people who don't have anything saved.
They tell us to just invest. But how do you invest when you can't even afford groceries? Just save 10% of your paycheck. Pay yourself first. Invest early, and you'll retire rich. That advice only works if you have money left over to save. Groceries doubled, rent and mortgage unaffordable, utilities, gas, taxes through the roof. Every dollar today is spent just trying to survive. There's nothing left to invest.
So I don't really have to tell you what it's like right now with any of the cost of living videos that I've made. It is very common for people barely living paycheck to paycheck right now. So how are you going to save for retirement in the future? Or if you are getting into that age, maybe you're getting blood dry from all of the cost of just surviving. So it's really not too surprising when we see a lot more videos like this.
This is certainly not part of Larry Gessick's retirement plan. The 77-year-old electrician by trade leaves at 5:30 a.m. and heads for his part-time job unloading trailers at a local supermarket in St. Petersburg, Florida, for $14.75 an hour. His wife, Joyce, 66, prepares for her workday, making $14 an hour as a full-time legal administrator.
It's not really a retirement.
What is it?
It's working every day.
The Gessicks came out of retirement not because they wanted to, but because they had to, and are among the 11 million Americans, 1 in 5 over 65, who are still working.
It's hard, 77, still busting my butt.
So I call it the work, retire, repeat syndrome.
Labor economist Teresa Ghilarducci says work is the new retirement.
So I mean, I've said it several times throughout my channel how important I think it is to take your finances seriously as young as you possibly can, because trusting a social security check to be able to get you by just does not seem like a safe bet to me. And maybe you will still have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work at 77 years old. I know what we just saw in the last clip, many people don't even have the option to save right now because of how difficult it is to live. But if you can save any money after all the bills are paid, I think that's probably one of the most important things you could do right now, especially for your future.
When are the boomers going to retire so we can get full-time jobs? They're not. The 2 oldest people in my job are in their 60s, and within the past decade, they filed bankruptcy. So literally in their entire lifetime, they never learned how to get good with money. They only use their income for their expenses. And it doesn't matter how big their paycheck is. It could be $100,000 a month. They only learn to use their income for their expenses. So they are check to check every month. You need to not wait on boomers. You need to learn to use your income for savings, investing, and then expenses. That's the only way to give yourself a shred of freedom.
We have a couple of comments from you guys that goes along with this clip. My dad is a perfect example of this. Made 6 figures for as long as I've been alive. I'm 26. He didn't even take the employer match from work for between 10 to 15 years. I don't remember exactly what he told me, but he doesn't own a house and plans on working into his late 70s because of his absolute lack of planning. Another one right here, my parents had nothing but Social Security. My dad was disabled, so not much could be done there, but when I tried tried to talk my mom out of quitting work, she was offended and said she deserved it because she had done her time. Now they have to decide which bill isn't paid each month. Definitely not a situation that I want to be in, but maybe none of this will matter in the future when we start seeing clips like this, talking about raising the age of retirement.
I'll say the hard things other people won't. We need to talk about raising the retirement age.
By the way, I don't know why everybody's afraid of raising the retirement age.
Know.
We're working, we're living longer, and we're working longer anyway.
And let me be
nobody
clear.
actually, retires and then goes and jumps on the hammock.
Well,
right? I mean, they're doing other stuff.
And it's
not for
the bricklayer. It's not for somebody who's been doing backbreaking work, but people who are sitting at their desks or working to 70, 80, we're living decades longer.
That's
we
an
can't
easy
afford
one.
not to do this.
In my view, and I
right?
hope I'm not insulting anybody at home because I love our viewers so much, but I don't think that's a tough one.
So we're just going to go right to the comments for this one. Imagine being a multi-millionaire and discussing raising the retirement age for the working class people. Maria is married to a billionaire. Much easier to say this kind of stuff when it won't affect you whatsoever. 62 and I'll be done not working till I die. It needs to be lowered, not raised. I don't want to die at work. And that perfectly goes with a comment from you guys in the next clip we're going to see. Let us not forget the woman who worked for the Wells Fargo who died at her desk and nobody noticed for 4 days.
Wells Fargo employees near Priest Drive in Washington Street found out a coworker who clocked in on August 16th at 7 a.m. wasn't found until 4 days later. Tempe police got the call on August 20th from on-site security who believed she was dead. Police later identified the woman as 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme. Employees who spoke with us off camera or wanted to remain anonymous say the news came as a shock, especially because many people work on the same floor. However, they say it's a rotating door with employees on hybrid schedules. Tempe police say the preliminary investigation did not show any obvious signs of foul play, and the cause of death will come from the medical examiner's office.
So this woman was 60 years old and never able to retire. She dies at her job and people don't even notice for 4 days. Along with the comments from you guys and the other stories we've seen, people working decades for these companies means basically nothing. There is no more company loyalty. They will fire you at a moment's notice, and if you drop dead at your cubicle, they might not even notice. I know this kind of stuff is pretty dark, but it's just absolutely insane to me. And I mean, there's not really too many solutions out there for some of the older generation to get full-time work. I mean, just look at this clip.
I'm 59 years old. I'm still in the workforce, and I have a message for my fellow Gen Xers who are still in the workforce and want to stay there. And that is, if you do want to stay there, then you need to be and act younger. Do not appear as the old person in the office or in the company, because that is going to put a target on your back. And we all know when there's a target on your back, sooner or later, somebody's going to shoot at it and you're going to lose your job. It's unfortunate. It's sad, but it's the way it is. There's a lot of ageism and people want to get rid of the old, guard and replace old with younger, less expensive employees. It's just the way it is.
So there you go again, much easier to get younger people who just want any semblance of a job. You could lowball them, they'll still accept, and then you could fire somebody who's been working for decades. So I guess the only real solution is to act younger. I instantly think of Creed from The Office when he dyed his hair black, or like the clip with Steve Buscemi in the How Do You Do, Fellow Kids. Honestly, I really don't know, but maybe not so far in the future. This all might not matter anymore when we're constantly seeing clips like this come out all the time.
This morning, a major tech CEO is sounding the alarm about the technology he's spearheading. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei, the head of the company behind AI model Claude 4, has a blunt warning, telling the website Axios half of all entry-level, white-collar jobs could be wiped out by artificial intelligence within 5 years, potentially driving the unemployment rate up to 20%. He says industries most at risk include law, marketing, tech, and finance.
These new generative AI technologies pose a real risk to early career knowledge jobs.
In recent months, AI has shown stunning capabilities, from generating hyper-realistic fake videos to diagnosing rare diseases through data analysis. The state Supreme Court in Arizona is even using AI-powered avatars to act as reporters and summarize court rulings.
My AI colleague Daniel and I will be bringing you regular updates.
AI's rapid rise could bring real benefits, but also real disruption.
So I know they're talking about entry-level jobs in this clip, but they're saying within 5 years. What happens in another 5 years, 10 years? Kind of seems like a lot of the jobs that would work with technology, with computers, could end up being obsolete. So I do want to end off this video with, of course, something we can never escape on this channel, a whole bunch of scams. Because when I was looking up this topic on TikTok, a lot of these videos up on screen started popping up, and it turned into a lot of Gen X influencers around 50 years old trying to promote their courses, digital marketing, everything that we've gone over before, to specifically the older generation who has gotten laid off. We have one here with over 100,000 followers, tired of chasing shiny promises, trying to make money online. Check this out. And it's just another digital marketing influencer. The stuff never works. Your shortcut to freedom, instant red flag. Show me the AI way. Digital nomad, drop your email in the link below, all the details. How to earn 100% profit online using proven blueprints. I teach people how to build an online business in a few hours a day, with another link in their description. I mean, you can look at all the comments here. I'm 60 and I feel pressure at work. Shell, I'm so sorry. To go to my link in my bio to receive the details. Let me know if you have questions. I'd be honored to help you. It's almost like bot responses, but this is the same type of crap we've seen with all the other grifters selling you courses, selling you a dream. Most of the time to make money online, it's a shortcut, it's super easy, only a couple hours and you'll be up and running, blah, blah, blah. But this one is specifically targeting the older generation that is vulnerable because now they're panicking, trying to look for another job, and they don't have enough money to retire, so they're in a rough situation. In the end, you'll pay for these courses and get virtually nothing out of it. If it was really that easy to make all that kind of money online, everybody would be doing it. So of course, just avoid these types of creators. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.